All right, everybody. I want to welcome you to our Week 3 recap for the Cult of Larry Draft League. I'm Dr. Geo. With me is.
P McGee.
We got some exciting content to bring you. We're really sorry we had to miss last week. Just kind of life came
Yeah,
quick.
regrettably, life just kind of has a way of getting in the way sometimes, but we're
And
here to get back to it.
yeah, there's really no other way to do it. We're going to be going over all the happenings for the week. We'll be covering some standing changes. And we're just gonna kind of pop into it. We've had a few replacement coaches come in. I think we caught all of them, but if not, we'll make mention in the video, and we're real sorry. But yeah, without further ado, we'll also cover one match from each league a little more in depth. So we're gonna kind of pop right into it, and you can see here. Okay, so for our very first matchup of the week, we have the Vancouver Pavilions going up against the Richland Raichus. Let's see what they have brought. Over on the Vancouver side, we have a Garchomp, Melodic, Burnape, a Thunderous Therian, Corviknight, and a Drapion.
And then MO brought the Mega Mawile, the Mamoswine, the Zapdos, Serena, Slowking, and a Rackway.
So right off the bat, I'm really hoping it's a competitive Melodic for the the webs Arachnid.
Yeah,
But
that'd be scary.
wasn't. It wasn't. So this is a game where I would look at it and I see if if Mamoswine somehow goes down, Chomp has a very free game with scale shot and stuff. But let's see. And yeah, there it is. Chomp had 4 kills and Infernape had 2. So I bet it was a lot of pivoting around. Mile has a kill. Probably took down the Melodic. It's tough to say.
Yeah.
MO's team just doesn't really have a way to end these games. Because if the Melodic's alive, Mamoswine isn't doing anything.
Zapdos struggles to push through Thunderous. Mega Mawile doesn't have an easy time with Corviknight. It's just hard for his pieces to break.
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can do to hold the line against like an Infernape and Garchomp spamming attacks at you.
This is a great Chomp game. Like, yeah, Serena can switch in decently well enough to Earthquake. But like Scale Shot, it doesn't want to take.
Yeah, and when you're without a fairy that can handle the Earthquake, Garchomp gets a really easy time getting to that +1 speed. And so if Mamoswine isn't there to Ice Shard or isn't in a good spot to Ice Shard, then Garchomp kind of goes to the races.
Yeah. Like Slowking is gonna get worn down pretty quickly too, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough matchup, honestly. So, congrats for Soul for the good win. Let's see. Next we have the New York Yamask, coached by Jordan, going up against Hope Speaks Deoxys by Joshua. So on the New York side, we have the Jirachi, the Hisuian Lilligant, Ursaluna, Wikumuku, Weavile, and Altaria.
And then on Joshua's side, we've got the Slowbro, the Mega Aggron, the Gengar, the Tornadus Therian, the Rotom Heat, and the Kyurem.
So this is a matchup we have a lot of breaking power on the Ursaluna and the Hisuian Lilligant, and not a lot here to really hold it back. Mega Aggron,
I mean,
like Gengar, I think actually holds back Hisuian Lilligant. Like, probably take.
Well, I mean, Torn does too. Lilligant's not really breaking Torn with stab.
Yeah, that's true. So that's neat. But
yeah.
I don't know the calc off the top of my head, but I'd imagine even Slowbro those struggles against the double edge. But if you get the predict right with the Gengar, like, work out pretty well. And
absolutely.
If you survive the initial onslaught from the Ursaluna and Lilligant, I think Joshua is a really good spot for this game. And
it showed.
Woo! It's the Gengar sweep.
I mean, basically, as soon as Ursaluna's not in position to handle Shadow Ball or Sludge Bomb anymore, it's spam because Weavile can't really switch in on attacks. Obviously, it has Pursuit to work with if you get the right situation for that. This is a pretty good Pursuit matchup to check the Gengar and a weakened Slowbro running away, but
But
it didn't happen.
no, and it's too hard to switch into anything. Like Weavile's a good pursuit trapper as like a revenge killer. It can't switch into any of its would-be pursuit trapping targets.
Exactly. It's a good revenge. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Anywho, so that they're really well played by Joshua. Like, you just look at it, and it's like if you survive the onslaught, gonna throw himself out, and yeah, you'll be totally fine.
Yep.
All right, next we have the Portland Pincers, coached by Jeg, and with Big Balls Curator, coached by the Rock. Not just Rock, not. So what do we got here? We have Urshifu Single Strike, Nidoqueen, Scissor, Mew, Sylveon, and Rotom.
And then on Rock side, we've got the Mega Diancie, the Bronzong, the Galarian Zapdos, the Garbodor, the Rotom Wash, and the Spectrier. So Spectrier basically clicks Shadow Ball for free here, and Sylveon's just praying it doesn't get caught by a Spadef drop on the Shadow Ball, because that's the only switch in to Shadow Ball.
Yeah. Scissor can probably take 3. It's full Spadef.
Yeah, and if just you're praying on that drop not happening, because if there's any Spadef, it's a 20% too on Shadow Ball, so if Shadow Ball gets that Spadef drop on the switch ins, then something gets sacked to deal with it. And look,
4 kills for Spectre, so that's exactly what happened. Is it got into a position, it could just click buttons. It's too tough, and like I don't remember off the top of my head what set it was, but like this could have been a week 2 where you just run sub disable.
I mean, you don't even need to. You can just click Spec Shadow Ball. There's not really a lot to manage specs. Because there's no pursuit trapping because Urshifu doesn't have that, so you don't have to worry about being trapped.
Trapper here.
Yeah, even that's not like super great.
You're probably feeling pretty okay about it. So yeah, I mean, you look at the matchup, and that's about how you expect it to. That's how I would expect it to go.
Yeah, when you have a bad dark type in terms of Spadef and then no normal type, that is a really tough matchup against Spectrier.
So next we have the Arizona Absols, coached by RoboPup, going up against the St. Louis Charizards, coached by Zard Ace. So
and this is our episode this is our matchup we will be coming back to highlight, so we don't have to get into too many specifics now.
So we had the Megalop, Heatran, Lycanroc Dusk, Togekiss, Hydreigon, Necrozma. Actually, if it is our featured matchup, let's just skip it.
Yeah, we'll be back to it. Stay tuned to see what happens.
We'll keep the spoilers free. Alright, so skipping that one, so here we have Team Nuclear Warfare, coached by Tox, up against the Denton Zoroark, coached by Spirit Union. So we have here on Tox's side Clefable, Blissey, Gliscor, Ditto, Toxapex, and Sableye.
And then on Spirit's side, we've got the Mega Gallade, the Landorus Therian, the Enamorus, the Arcanine, the Superior, and the Greninja.
This is a tough lineup from Tox because it doesn't do anything. It's probably hoping that like Lando or Gallade set up. So you sack something and then you win, or Serp sets up.
Yeah, you're basically trying to hold the line long enough to force a setup and then sack, but...
And I think that's about what happened.
Yeah, Ditto gets those kills, obviously off of copying things. Gliscor gets a kill. Toxapex is able to get a kill, but he just can't hold the line against the firepower of Landorus.
Like I want to say there was some shenanigans in this match with Superior Ditto. So that's why it was as close as it was.
Yeah, it's actually surprising Landorus was able to be the effective piece in this matchup, just because Gliscor so heavily hard walls it, and basically Gliscor only switches in on that in Arcanine, so Gliscor shouldn't ever go down in a matchup with Landorus still alive, because that's the only piece it's really managing. But he was able to get it down, which really enabled Landorus to finish like it did and be the 1-0 win.
Yeah, so well done.
Yeah, well done.
Here we have the Midwestern Moltres going up against the Sunset Soul Rocks. Take a look at the bonds here for Midwest. We got the Coco, Cinderace, Regieleki, Claydol, Landorus, and Sceptile. We got Coco on both sides, so that ain't right.
There might be a transaction issue we need to correct. I do not believe Pro had the Tapu Koko.
It's not Coco. I think it's Feeny.
That is correct.
So
Because
let me
Tides
update
replaced
that.
Frosty. Frosty had the Coco, so yeah. That's what happened.
Feeny. Means, of course, it's probably season stuck to.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. I think it's actually supposed to be Darmanitan. I think it's a carryover from a fix I made. I think it's supposed to be Galar Darm.
That's fine.
I think that's what it's supposed to be. Okay. They have the raw data and I looked at it, so it all works. Alright, let's see how this match turned out. 3-0 for Tides. Canyon actually has 2 kills. So
I remember this matchup. Tides put himself in a really rough spot because he actually ended up sacking his Garchomp a little earlier than he should have, and Regieleki was still alive with Coco to set terrain for himself accidentally, and he did pack Rising Voltage. So Pro Shuriken nearly got into a position to spam and win with Regieleki. It nearly broke Licky Licky. Licky Licky was living on like less than 10% health at one point in order to get it weak enough for.
Did it just run out of terrain?
Not even, no, it was not even with terrain in play. Coco hadn't even come onto the field yet because it was scared of setting terrain. It was still doing like Rising Voltage without terrain was still doing like 48% or something like that. I think he had to win it with like a Shadow Sneak or something. No, not Shadow Sneak. Maybe Aqua Jet and Keldeo. Yeah, it was Aqua Jet and Keldeo was his only out in that matchup. If he hadn't packed that, or if he hadn't been able to get Regieleki low enough for the Aqua Jet, then Regieleki was going to sweep it out with just Rising Voltage spam. So the score differential is not even reflective of how close that matchup was. Keldeo was not packing Aqua Jet, and that match was lost. Or Licky doesn't get good enough rolls to live, and then Regieleki sweeps. So really, really close matchup.
Good job, guys. Alright, last, certainly not least, here we have Iris's District Darmanitan. Our replacement coaches going up against very own mod hysterically. Here we have the Dracovish, Gladios, Zeraora, Florges, Mega Swampert, Arcanine, Hisui. On the other side we have
Vileplume, Primarina, Raikou, Mega Scizor, Latios, and Mandibuzz. Basically, what's very, very apparent here is that Dracovish just clicks buttons, especially Scarf, and Vileplume is only going to hold the line temporarily on that, if at all. You're kind of banking on Effect Spore.
I know one person who runs Vileplume, and they are not in this league.
No. Vileplume can be a surprisingly effective low-tier grass sometimes, but if it needs to wall hard physical water like Dracovish, it's actually not super well suited to that task. It needs to be more manageable. But it wasn't Dracovish that popped here, amazingly. It was the Swampert and the Zeraora.
Yeah, I would need to rewatch this match because I'm drawing some blanks here.
I mean, Zeraora just has the coverage, especially if you consider the fact it has Blaze Kick as well.
Yeah.
There's not really anything left. Raikou doesn't have the bulk to take hits. Vileplume doesn't take the Blaze Kick well. Neither does Scizor, and the Primarina and Mandibuzz are getting beat up by
it.
No, and then Gladios doesn't like to play rough either, or the knockoff, whichever Zeraora wants to run. So Zeraora has all the coverage, but Dracovish definitely could have popped off in this matchup too.
And it may have, like you just get a few vicious runs and things are broken enough for Zera to go to town.
Oh, absolutely. So good win by Iris. Good introduction to the league. Hysterically is doing good mod work by following suit with me and Geo and Mo.
Throwing for content. Alright, so next we are going to go into our battle. Do you have the
Yeah,
battles up?
I do. Yeah, we gotta
Okay.
queue this up.
So we have Zardes going up against RoboPup. Here we have Zardes bringing Rillaboom, Dragapult, the Umbreon, Mega Medicham, the Weezing and Blastoise.
Yep, and then RoboPup has the Megalopony, the Lycanroc Dusk, the Hydreigon, the Heatran, the Togekiss, and the Necrozma.
Alright,
And this
so
is a
we're just going to leave it on
pretty
normal
good match.
speed.
Yep.
We may speed it up if it starts getting in a little stallish, but really just fast speed. So
Yep.
I look at this and I think, cool. I see a Megalop lead for RoboPup. It's pretty decent. I would probably lead Pult on the other side.
Yeah.
The only way I probably don't U-turn is if I'm staring the Necrozma in the face. You may go for the Spec Shadow Ball or something. That's kind of that, or you just go hard into Umbreon.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's see. They definitely got plenty of options they can play around with. Anything except for like a Galar will do you fine. Rillaboom lead. Yeah, this is all fine. Lop probably fake out. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's your normal spam.
Yeah, I mean if I'm Rillaboom, I probably go straight to Weezing on that lead off just to see what he switches into on that side.
Yeah.
But that's fine. The Will-O-Wisp is ill-advised.
It's you can't be throwing out statuses in front of a Lopunny because you can still give it Facade. So
Yeah.
like that actually could be really dangerous now that you know that as Willow if you switch the Lopin and like you get Facade. Oof. Okay, but so we got some really good damage there on the Togekiss. Like you need that damage.
You've broken it.
Yeah, you need the damage on the Togekiss. Ooh, we have the miss.
Yeah, that's the frustration with the Toxics when they miss every now and again. I mean, it's fine that Necrozma doesn't. He's actually kind of playing this smart here. He's not going for the foul play. He is playing a little cautious and making sure not to accidentally proc a weakness policy.
Yeah, which, I mean, it feels like there has to be a weakness policy. I wasn't paying too close attention, but I didn't see any recover, or like lefties recover.
Yeah.
The Dark Pulse. I love it.
It's a rare tech, but it's definitely helpful for this matchup when you're dealing with the Dragapult to try to smack that for some good damage.
Yeah. Didn't really need to switch the...
Yeah, he made a mistake earlier not giving the wish back to his Umbreon, just because now the Umbreon's a little low on health, which makes it a little harder to deal with Hydreigon and Heatran.
Yeah, and then there's the sub. Oof.
Very good decision on the Hydreigon set to deal with the Umbreon trying to foul play or Toxic, as well as maybe a Galarian Weezing switch in. Yeah. Some risk to it, just because sub doesn't necessarily work well against a Dragapult.
Yeah, and you start to lose out on some coverage. But okay, so you kind of even up the score here a little bit. No kick. It actually hits. Yeah. That's pretty cool. All right, so we sack the Togekiss.
Yeah.
Like that's.
We're turning into a trade-off game pretty quickly, and Charizard Ace is in the one-up position for that right now, which is really helpful. Really interesting decision going with the Dragapult in front of the Lopunny.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Unfortunate.
We have some chat here. Why did you stay in? Draco always kills. Well, sometimes he said he was predicting Tran to come in, and well,
sometimes overthinking gets you. Really critical burn right here on this Mega Lopunny just to produce its power, because it's shown return. It's not running Facade in this matchup, which gives Rillaboom a good window to click Grassy Glide here pretty freely for a quick KO.
Will not kill the Hydreigon though. So do we get
will not, sub? But
there it is.
So it's actually a bad decision here to not just go after the Hydreigon, because if you're letting it sub freely, you limit your options on how to kill it. And so now Hydreigon can technically win this game because it can stay behind a sub in front of this Umbreon as long as it doesn't misplay.
Yeah, so you just need to make sure when you kill the Umbreon, you have a sub up. That's
Yep.
it. That's how you win this game.
And there's just
And
not a lot
you
that...
can go all the way up, yeah, to +6. So I'm gonna speed it up here because this is how this game should end.
Should being the keyword here.
Yeah, I just switch it to fast. Yeah.
Yep. Umbreon doesn't really have a way to deal with this. Hydreigon can just keep subbing pretty freely.
Yeah,
decision to protect.
You do slightly over 50%, so eventually you'll get the 2-hit KO.
Yeah. So critical turn here with Rillaboom. Rillaboom clicking Grassy Glide to break sub is pretty free. What Robo should be doing is just clicking sub on this every time because then he stays behind it. But unfortunately, he has a slight hiccup here, and because of this critical burn here, because this burn, if it wasn't burnt, return does 92%, but because of the burn, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And the Mega Medichamp's able to survive by that 10% and get the KO. So really,
there's a world where you kind of sub through the grassy terrain.
Yeah, you just try to play around that just to stay behind the sub. I mean, theoretically, Charizard Ace could do a predictive U-turn on a sub if they get into that back and forth, and he could play out of it. So Charizard Ace was actually in a really good spot that end game, thanks to that burn on the Mega Lop, to just try to get Mega Medicham in front of a Hydreigon that wasn't subbed, and then just outright win, which is what happened. So good work.
And good on Ace for Jolly. Jolly on the... A lot of people really love the Adamant, and I get it, but like you get that 98 speed, so you have to run Jolly. So good on him for remembering.
Yes, get your speed tiers right. Don't lose because of bad speed tiering.
All right, so let's pop into our standings here. All right, this is after 3 weeks. So after 3 weeks, starting to see a little bit of separation in the field. We have the Spirit Union up at top. 3-0 with a differential of 8. Josh has a differential of 10 despite being 2-1.
Yeah, really high diff.
All 2-1 teams up in the top. We have Gradual chilling 2-1. I don't know what the exact tiebreakers are between diff teams that are tied. Probably nothing right now after only 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but
something to keep an eye on. Lots of time yet. We'll see a little more separation as the season.
Yeah. As for KO leaders, Urshifu single strike, Gengar, that's normal. Hydreigon being up there, not as normal, but it's really cool to see. Reuniclus, one showing and it's still up there. Very cool.
Yep. I mean, that's basically the Urshifu too. I think Urshifu got 6 KOs or 5 KOs in its first matchup. So
like it's very cool. And then some of these last ones like the Nihilego and the Vector, one showing. We'll see as time goes on. All right, let's pop back to the recaps. We're gonna move on into Gary.
Gary.
Check out the Disciples. So here we have the LA Nidokings, coached by Black 117, going up against.
This is our featured matchup too.
Yeah, so we're not even going to go into it, but this is our featured matchup, so let's move on. Next we have the adorable Audinos up against the St. Louis Shroomish. Let's take a look at these Mons. Here we have on the Audino side the Crocodile, the Megamile, the Chandelure, Zapdos, Dragalge, and Slowbro.
And then Helix has brought the Registeel, the Mega Gallade, the Nidoking, the Tornadus Therian, the Incineroar, and the Mon I think we are continuing to appreciate throughout this league is the Hisuian Gudra.
I like it.
Oh yeah. It is growing on me week after week.
I like it against the Dragalge here too. Like, I'm not sure Dragalge can do all that much. Like, yeah, it's got adaptability, but neutral against this monster.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens though. We have the Audinos taking it 2-0, and it's another stellar performance by Chandelure. I think that's 2 weeks in a row Chandelure's kind of popped off for Frandy. So he's probably feeling pretty good about that.
Pretty surprising he's able to take off in that way too, just because Incineroar is such a hard answer to Chandelure in this matchup. So as long as Incineroar stays lively, and really Incineroar doesn't have reason to see the field outside of checking Chandelure. So the fact that he was able to actually break that down to the point Chandelure could win this game is pretty impressive.
Right. Maybe it got knocked or something with some rocks up on the field and it just got worn down.
Yeah, it might be something like that.
So well done. I like seeing Chandelure off. I can't wait to look at the stats for the match or for Disciple. Yeah. See it up there.
Chandelure's a scary mon. I packed a sing just today, and we're seeing one too.
Speaking of Chandelures, but I don't think we've updated it, but I don't think this was Edster's team, right?
This was not played by HJJ. No, HJJ no now has the team, so
this is not his match. It was ED Star. He had it, and but that's fine. Yeah, so that's a Coco.
You can guess based off the coaching change what happened.
Yeah, so he lost and then he left the server. So
yeah, some of the pieces didn't pop off. Coco Medi, I ran this core. I did not do well with this core. It looks good. It objectively probably is good, but for some reason it's not the easiest core to make.
This was a total tilt match where Cleaver missed turn 1 and then died.
Yeah, that's right.
And then died. So it was
and then things never recovered. Yeah.
Yeah. So. All right. So next we have the Chelsea Chestnuts, coached by Waka, going up against the Nulls by Zeke. So on Waka's side, we have Urshifu Single Strike, Gorilla Boom, Yancy, Etran, Glow King, and Palo Sand.
And then Zeke's got the Milotic, the Mega Absol, the Machamp, which I always like seeing a Machamp show up, Scizor, Zeraora, and the Volcarona. Really not a lot here to handle Urshifu either, so Urshifu kind of just clicks Wicked Blow pretty freely as long as it can avoid Volcarona statusing it, which can be accomplished by just running protective pads because you don't necessarily need the speed, but we'll see what happens with this match.
There's the button. And see Zeke take it. So I guess their Shifu was stopped.
I mean, there's one of the ways you can
be a Mega Absol player off that took it down.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the way to beat Urshifu is just always being on offense so it doesn't get to smack your defensive pieces. It doesn't really kill Machamp freely. Mega Absol outspeeds it unless it's Scarf. Zeraora outspeeds it, one hit KOs with Play Rough.
I'm really happy to see this result because if you have the gall to bring him a Machamp, then you kind of deserve to win, in my opinion. The real winners on.
That's it's an impressive bring. I was happy to see it.
No guard dynamic punch, please. Alright, next we have the Arkham City Delibirds, coached by A12, going up against Dallas High Horsepower, coached by Shark. So on the Arkham side, we have Charizard, Zapdos, Diggersby, Gliscor, Crobat, and Slowking. And
then on Shark's side, we've got the Venusaur, which I believe is a Mega, the Cinderace, the Manaphy, the Ursaluna, the Raikou, and the Latios. Okay.
So, alright, one of the things about Poribot and custom games is if you don't actually Mega Evolve your Mega Pokemon, it doesn't know that it's Mega. So that may give away the result of this match, so I'm just going to click it. Oh, no.
It was a fairly close game. So
I don't know why we talked Venusaur. Oh, because he probably died on a switch in.
Yeah, I don't think it ever got to a Mega Evolve. So one of the things we talked about with Shark's team, because Shark is part of my prep group, there was one hiccup with the team, and that was physical flying attacks spamming against it, because Raikou isn't a really great check to those. And in 2 of the first 3 games he played, he has to deal with Galarian Zapdos and Mega Aerodactyl, and both of those were obviously the kryptonite in those matchups. So unsurprising what Mon was the oppressor in this matchup. Obviously,
this match did have a few. He's almost pulled it back with some Scald Raikou plays, which I think were specs, but the issue is the
specs Raikou is popping.
Does not Scarf Zapdos.
No, Scarf Zapdos just kind of U-turns around, or Brave Birds at a certain
Or
point and just kills it.
close combats will kill the Raikou, guaranteed.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
So-
there's just it's really hard to deal with that. Unfortunately, Shark just keeps running into the kind of mon he doesn't want to see. There's not a lot of great physical flying attack spammers, but he managed to run into the two worst ones in the first three games.
This
so.
match also started a very lively debate in Disciple Spoilers upon is Raikou appropriately priced?
Yes.
So go check that out. It's a worthwhile read. I think there's people maybe digging in a little too deep onto their sides, but both ends. But there's some very interesting points being brought up about. It elucidates, I think, more so how people view electric type mons and they want electric type mons to do.
Yep.
Alright, here we have the Phoenix Soul Gladios, coached by Didi, going up against the Waikato Chestnuts, coached by Liger. So, here we got the Mega Lopunny, Fable, Thunderous, Melmetal, Xatu, and Rapidash for Didi.
And then Liger's got the Landorus, the Azelf, the Mega Scizor, the Primarina, the Bronzong, and the Komo-o.
Taking a look here at this match, we have
So,
4 kills for Xatu. Clef.
Yeah, it turned into setup Xatu, and he just didn't have a way to stop that at a certain point. I think he got because it had Heat Wave for the Mega Scizor, so I think it was just always gonna win.
Primarina was Calm Mind too, but like, man,
yeah,
like when you crit and you're still only doing like 60%, you're not breaking it.
No, and I do want to give a shout out to DD for bringing defensive Rapidash here to shut down the Mega Scizor, because I believe it had Flamethrower, it had Morning Sun, and unless Scizor very specifically packs Sand Tomb for it, which it had some reason to do with a Melmetal there, you might want to trap.
I think we did the last time we did a recap. We kind of even talked about it. You did the calc on the back end, and like,
yeah,
like you have to get the predict while it's already damaged. Like so.
Rapidash just kind of annoys Mega Scizor out of the field. Like Mega Scizor just doesn't really have a great way to deal with it other than clicking Toxic.
It's a great check.
So there's Rapidash only checks 2 mons in my opinion, Mega Scizor and Scizor, and this was one of the matchups it could show up for. So I'm glad to see it finally get some utility, and kudos to DD for getting a lot of utility out of some low tier mons here with the Xatu and the Rapidash.
Yeah, fantastic. I love Xatu sweeps. Sorry that it happened to Liger, but I do love me some Xatu sweeps. Alright, so our last match for Disciple is the Moody Marshadow by Bloop up against Dashing Sceptile. Here on Moody's side, we have the Sneasler, Magmortar, Zygarde, Armory, Tapu Fini, Mega Audino. What do we got on the other side?
We've got the Garbodor, the Mega Garchomp, the Enamorus, the Serena, the IG Slash, and the Keldeo. Dashing has been leaning into his Keldeo and Enamorus play thus far in this season. I expect it to continue in a matchup like this, especially because there is no switch into Moonblast. I mean, Enamorus just clicks buttons pretty freely in this matchup.
Skarm's your best answer?
No, Mystical Fire.
Yeah,
you got Mystical Fire for that, like... Moonblast, Earth Power, and Sludge Bomb. There are no switch-ins that don't take super effective damage outside of the Fiend.
It's like you gotta get set up quickly so you can stop the Enamorus, but don't know if you can. And look, Keldeo and Enamorus, yeah, they got the kills. I'm guessing the guard was the switch in for Sneasler.
Yeah,
like
I mean it's the Fat Poison.
Yeah,
I believe that's correct. And then it obviously has the Aftermath to just take extra chip away from the Sneasler at the end. So as long as you can keep Mega Audino from Wish Passing into the Sneasler just kind of gets broken down by the Garbodor. And then Enamorus, like I said, every time the Enamorus sees the field, it clicks a button pretty freely, and there's just not much they can do.
So, way to go, Dashing! That's a great win. We're gonna take this moment though to pivot on over into our next match. This is Gladios and Black 117. So here on Gladios' side, we have the Corviknight, the Necrozma, the Terrakion, Tangrowth, Alolan Muck, and Mega Altaria. Right? Or is this just normal Altaria? I think it's Mega.
I believe it's Mega.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll find out in the match. On Black side, we've got the Mega Aerodactyl, the Kartana, the Nidoqueen, the Mew, the Suicune, and the Hydreigon.
So immediately looking at this matchup, you know, I like it's gonna be a little tough to bust through the Suicune. Like a Rescue set seems atrocious with Scald Ice Beam, but
Yeah, there's
that
not
may
really an
not
answer
get
to that.
through a Muck all that easily without like +3 or 4.
No, what you're likely to end up doing if so
You gotta
Muck
burn
needs
it.
to. Yeah, if you burn Muck, Muck gets shut down because Muck maybe with Thunder Punch can do enough chip to break it down. Obviously, if it's Rescue, it can maybe deal with that. But if it's a offensive enough Muck, it might be able to push through. Either way, the Suicune has a lot of trouble here, especially if it has Rest. There's just not a good answer to breaking that.
I mean, if you get set up with like Necrozma, that's like there's ways if you get ahead of it. Tough to do.
Yeah.
And you can't spend 2.5 months to take down the Suicune. You got like a Scarf Kartana to continue the breaking. Like
yeah, Kartana actually has a pretty awful matchup here. It's got to break a Corviknight and a Tangrowth. Like that's just a tall order.
It can't break the Corviknight. I don't think. Like
it can't break either unless you're playing poorly against the Kartana. It can't break either of those Pokemon.
The Rocky
so
Home
it's
Tangrowth just kind of shuts it down.
Yeah. I'll make sure to count me in for this one.
Yeah, all right. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see. We have a lead Necrozma, lead Nidoqueen. That feels pretty good for this.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he doesn't go for the predict and loses that.
Could have signal beamed and just won the game.
Yeah. Going for just breaking the Muck, which is actually pretty crucial because we were just talking about Muck's ability to stop a Suicune sweep here.
Yeah, specs. Wow. So that what a way to start it off. Yeah, so there's the Altaria special. Ooh.
Really critical freeze there. Going back into Necrozma, which may be a setup Necrozma, we'll see.
Oh yeah, there's
Signal Beam's pretty crucial. Yeah.
The Coon. What a good double here. Or that's not double. What a just a good switch.
Yeah.
Alright, that's pretty tilting.
Yeah. I mean, he did get a freeze already, so a Leaf Storm miss is somewhat justified.
Yeah, it's fine. Alright, Mew should wake up pretty soon. But maybe you're afraid of like the setup.
Yeah, and the Signal Beam is just doing too much damage. Double miss with the Leaf Storm is really painful.
I wasn't gonna do all of that much.
Good predict on the Flash Beam. Or Flash Cannon.
Yeah. So nice, there we go. Alright, now Suicune's like, okay, I feel good. Let's go.
I've gotten my window.
There it is. But it still could be Rescue.
It's probably a Rescue here. Icy Wind is an interesting choice just because it doesn't have a lot of breaking power. If I'm remembering this game correctly, it's actually a little longer than I thought. We may want to switch modes here.
Alright, let's go to fast. Yeah, 3, 2, 1, fast. Oh, okay. No.
So
is that specs?
This is a specs Tangrowth, and there's not really any switching anymore. When you realize there's no switching to specs, it's actually a little different of a situation.
Wow! What a way to pull it back.
I mean, because that's the thing with Tangrowth. I mean, that 105-ish, 110-ish special attack is pretty good.
You know, even Tangela.
And you could.
I've seen Tangela specs before for that Leaf Storm, just for the surprise factor.
Oh, absolutely.
Alright, here's the Automize. Just going for it, but...
Yeah, and then going for the Moonlight Spam, probably... And this is good on Black here to not proc it. Probably a weakness policy. Yeah, but he's just spamming Dragon Pulse to avoid it.
Enough. You're over 50%. Like, it's only 8 Moonlights, so...
Yeah. Good encore set by the Mew.
Yeah. So here we got an Ice Beam. Oh, Willow. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Willow's great.
Black's taking away the offensive options for Ornn here. You know, Mega Altaria can't do much against the Mew. The Terrakions now burnt and useless. The Necrozma has shown it's
got to keep sacking stuff to the...
Yeah, Tangrowth is spamming, and Tangrowth can keep coming in and spamming because it can eat the chip from the rocks and then get Regenerator back up and not care.
That was a odd choice there.
Yeah, the double backfired, unfortunately, for Ornn.
Like, you're faster, but like
basically this entire game is on Tangrowth now,
there's
trying
not
to
enough.
break
You get
with
to
Leaf
play.
Storm.
You get to play the sack game at this point, or have enough pieces that you can be throwing stuff down to the Tangrowth.
And the Tangrowth has now shown itself as not an answer to Kartana. So if the Corviknight goes down, then Kartana also just wins at this point because it's not a bulky Tangrowth outside of maybe HP investment.
Yeah, I mean, Specs Leaf Storm may actually kill despite
the quad resist. It is possible. Yeah, this Altaria is not breaking.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna switch it to. Oh, he switched out.
Hyper.
Never mind. Knockoff. Okay.
Gets the knockoff.
Yeah, great time to actually.
Gets the critical miss. Does get the KO though.
But like, yeah, like it's hard to really break at this point with the Leaf Storm.
No, and then you get the huge flash cannon hit there, and then that breaks the Altaria. And so essentially Black's fine trading off some pieces here to generate KOs.
Dude, do you see the name on this Corviknight?
The real someone knows someone I like to draft pretty well.
Para. It doesn't really matter at this point. Well,
no, I mean, it kind of does.
I mean, if you somehow get rid of the. Oh no, never mind. The specs have already been knocked off, so I don't think you break the Mew right now or either.
No, I mean, what you end up. And the Mew with the Nightshade does enough with the Rock Chip to prevent Tangrowth from getting health back. So it's unfortunate for the Tangrowth. Can't actually make forward momentum here. Basically, this is coming into a... We can actually go to hyper fast here. It's going to turn into a PP stall battle until the point that Tangrowth runs out of Leaf Storms to break the Suicune with. It gets switched into using Giga Drain, which just doesn't do enough damage. And then eventually the Suicune's going to get enough Calm Minds in where it Icy Winds to victory. And there's just not a lot that can be done about it. But again, one reason I want to highlight this match, despite how long it was, is that Black has been playing some really good games thus far in the Disciple division. We didn't really have a lot of context. He's kind of a new face within our circle, and so he is doing some very good ringer-like work down there right now, and looking like the dark horse to win the division. I wanted to make sure we got a highlight of his gameplay thus far because it's some really good prep, and he's executing really, really well to, get these wins.
Yeah, match is still playing, and it just it's the back and forth. There's the U-turn.
Got the Icy Wind. Gonna get a rest here by the. Oh no, there's a Scald.
It's either you kill with the Scald or he switches in, and there's the rest. You can't kill this. Like, the Leaf Storm did, like, 55.
Yeah, there's just no good way to kill it.
I don't know why he switched out. I thought he only had one more turn left of... Oh, he had 2 turns of sleep. Okay. With 2 turns of sleep, I get it a little bit more, because Giga Drain into Leaf Storm probably kills. Or has a chance to, because he was at 88.
And he's fine to stall this. He can PP stall out the Tangrowth's attacks, and then just win with Suicune. I mean, he's like, again, this is why he's got the best record in the division right now at 3-0 and highest differential, is just really good end game play to not throw away any win conditions, because sometimes teams just lose by throwing away their win condition. And then you can see the Icy Wind just kind of wins out right here. Nothing can really
so he's going to keep setting up, so then that other than crit. So here it goes. And you'll just kill here anyway, so once you get...
So well played by Black.
Really well
good
done.
Prep, obviously, by Lorne. The Tangrowth was actually a really cool set because pieces just think they can kind of switch in freely on Tangrowth just because it's not usually an attacker. And so to have Specs Leaf Storm just really changes how it plays and can generate you some really needed breaking power.
I really like that. That was really cool. Well done. So we have 2 undefeated teams after 3 weeks here. We have the LA Nido Kings, so Black and Frandy, both sitting with some pretty good diff too. And then the rest are all the 2-1 teams. It's all pretty much self-explanatory. No one's out of it yet though. We haven't updated it on the dock yet to show our new coach for the Melbourne Rush Rooms, so HJJ's gets to take it over. We'll see how they do.
Very curious to see it.
Yeah, taking a look at the kill leaders here. We have Urshifu still at top. Way to go, way to go. With Mega Air. Hey, this is me, dude. Those are my mons.
And those are the two right there.
Yeah, Keldio's up there. That's really cool. Mega Scissor. Chandelure being up there is maybe the second coolest thing. Zoroark. That's the coolest thing being up there, Zoroark.
So, I mean, Zeke Zero is committed to making this the kill leader. Like, that's what he is determined to build his entire strategy around. It's not doing poorly for him. He is in the top 4 seeding right now.
He's 2-1. He's fine.
Yeah, he's doing well with the strategy. And Zoroark's a fun mon, so I'm curious to see how far he can climb this up the leaderboard.
Yeah. So, let's pop back to our recaps here. We're gonna go to our last division. Alright, so we're gonna switch back over to Larry. Oops. You can see the match. It's fine, it's not that important. Alright, so first up we have the Miami Delphox, coached by our Fact Luigi, up against the Canberra Charizard, coached by our Sammy C. Take a look at these mods. We got the Dragapult, the Mesprit, Blastoise, Sylveon, Landorus Therian, and Melmetal.
And then on Sammy's side, we've got the Zapdos, the Heatran, the Necrozma, the Nidoqueen, the Megalopony, and the Greninja. So what's pretty apparent, just looking at team preview, is that Fact just doesn't have a lot of ways to hold off Megalopony. Normally, Megalopony is a cleaner in a lot of matchups, or that's what it wants to be. But in a matchup like this, Megalopony just wants to hit the field as often as possible because Sylveon is really the only.
Is your best thing, but like you turn.
Yeah, so there's no good answers. Landorus can't really switch in unless it's occasional. Otherwise, it's gonna get caught by a triple axle and die. So it's really hard to keep this Megalopony in check, and it just has the potential to sweep games.
Yeah, and this kind of shows it here is that Megalopony takes 3 kills, and I want to say this was a match too where something happened to the Landorus where I think it got paralyzed by the crush or by static.
Yeah, I may have had a bad U-turn in the
match. Or it either got paralyzed or burned from the flame body, just from a U-turn, and so it was very limited on what it could do. But even then, it's a really, really tough matchup. So, way to go for Sammy. It's a great win. Sometimes, it's not just the prep; it's actually executing it. So,
yeah,
great win. Next, this was not Jack that played. This game actually didn't happen.
Yeah, never mind. This game hasn't happened.
Yeah, so right now it's looking like Jack's going to be able to take the forfeit win because Epix just isn't around. But we'll see. All right, this is your match. The Pote Down.
This is my match.
Muku's up against the South Bend Snums. Do you want to introduce the mons you brought?
Yeah, I've got Landorus Incarnate, Umbreon, Mega Mawile, Kommo-o, Slowbro, and Cinderace.
And going up against you, you have the Hisuian Typhlosion, Keldeo, Ursaluna, Mega Altaria, Jirachi, and Tornadus Therian.
Yep. And what I knew from this matchup going in was that he didn't have an answer to Mega Mawile, and so I was somewhat committed to running Trick Room Slowbro into Mega Mawile and just trying to click buttons because there wasn't a lot of switching options. And that's what I went for. Unfortunately, it almost worked, except for one very unfortunate paralysis turn at the very end of the game, and that's the reason the Mega Altaria lived. Was I survived the earthquake, my Mawile did from the Altaria, but it was paralyzed and could not attack with Play Rough, and unfortunately, Mega Mawile belongs in the trash.
It was gonna miss that Play Rough even if you weren't paralyzed.
You're probably right. I still would have liked it to have missed, but you were probably right. There is like a 95% chance that move misses when it matters most.
Yeah.
So
I think I remember this
Unfortunate.
match where I think you got a player off onto like the Typhlosion and it still did like 60% or some nonsense like
Yeah,
that.
like 65, 70%. You know how it is. It's not. It says it's a not very effective move, but we all know that's a lie with Mega Mawile.
Yeah, so it was really close. I caught this one live. I thought you were gonna take it until the paralysis hit, and then
I
I
thought so too.
remembered what mon you were using, and I was like, well, he never stood a
Yeah,
chance.
it all makes sense.
All right, let's see. Next, we have. Do you remember which match we're doing? Was it this one?
It is not this match.
Okay. Oh, we have the Thunderous from Down Under Us going up against Living Like Larry. On Thunderous Down Under side, we have Zoroark, Corviknight, Rillaboom, Primarina, Dracovish, and Sneasler.
And then on Phil's side, we got the Tapu Lele, the Zygarde, the Celesteela, the Arcanine, the Seismitoad, and the Aerodactyl.
Well, Zoroark has coverage for this. It's got Grass Knot, T-Bolt, Dark Pulse, and Ice Beam, so it can hit all
Yeah.
of it. It can hit this whole team. You
Yep.
gotta be a little careful.
And really, the only thing holding the Sneasler in check is the Arcanine staying healthy with like a Rocky Helmet, Intimidate set, or something like that, just to keep the damage output in control. But it didn't matter. Sneasler just kind of went
it went
rampant.
down, and there was like, okay, I could do this.
Yeah.
You know, what are you gonna do? This is stupid Zoroark team. Like, I've never seen one in the wild before, and here we have maybe it in its best form.
Yeah, so good that he's drafted it twice now. He looked at what he's doing in this league and immediately applied it to another league. And I can't argue. I mean, this is arguably one of the
can't.
top 5 draft teams I've ever seen, and it's showing why it is worth actually building around Zoroark and why it is still priced at the price it's at, because it's almost never drafted, you know, at a 10-point mon where it normally sits. But when it's drafted and it's drafted on the right team, you can see why it is terrifying to prep and play against, because it just takes advantage of its ability sometimes with some of those breakers and demolishes you. This is our next featured game, by the way.
Yeah. So our feature game is gonna be against the Republic City Firefurts, up against the New Jersey Origin. Claude versus K-King. K-King's a new coach that was a replacement for Queen. So we'll see how this match goes for them. But it'll be our feature. So here, this is our next match. This is Frost Eye, Dick and Balls, up against Flight Club by Cats. So let's see what we have. On Frost Eye's side, we have the Deoxys Speed, Crobat, Suicune, Kartana, Salazzle, Silvally. What do we have on
And
Cat's
then
side?
Cat's side, I believe that's Mega Diancie. I could be wrong. Moltres, Sui, and Braviary, which is also showing it to be a very fun mon. Vaporeon, IG Slash, and then Sandaconda making an appearance.
And for like the second or third time this season, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, one of the matchups I believe was against Regieleki, so it had to come. But yeah, Sandaconda's seeing a bit of activity right now.
So let's load it up and look at this. Braviary has 2 KOs. 2.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of clicks a button. There isn't a switch in on this team. If Braviary is clicking Hurricane, everything on this team is eating like
Silvally
60%.
Steel, like your best bet.
Kind of. And it still has Mystical Fire to play with too, so it's not.
It's gonna get worn down real fast anyway, even
Yeah.
with the Hurricane spam. Like, cause you could, if it's Silvally Steel, like you go into Vaporeon and
Yep.
I mean, you just use the slow flip turn out and get something better. And Deontay just died. I don't remember what happened, but yeah. So it is a Mega Deontay.
Yeah.
And then Aegislash, I think, was Sword Stance with Shadow Sneak. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's just a way of dealing with Deoxys Speed. So Deoxys Speed, despite all that speed tier, unfortunately does not have priority really to work with. So Shadow Sneak just kind of pushes through that.
So, well done. Take a look at our last match for the week. This is the Alberta Surge, Huku versus my team, Glade.
Yep.
So
I can introduce Riku's team.
Yeah, what did Huku bring?
He's got the Rotom Wash, the Nidoking, the Galarian Zapdos, the Bronzong, and the Talonflame.
Tapu Koko.
Did I say Tapu Koko?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's got a Tapu Koko. That mon's just like all over the place today. I can't keep straight.
I know. Alright. And then I brought Mega Glade, Rotom Heat, Gliscor, Melodic, Registeel, and Dredagon. So right off the
Pretty tough
bat,
matchup for the Coco. I mean, Coco just has nothing for Gliscor. I've tried playing against it in the past. I mean, if it's a Spadef Gliscor, it just walls
yeah, so
Tapu
Gliscor
Koko.
is really good against Coco, but my team has like nothing for the Bronzong. Like,
Yeah,
like
except for an
my
overheat.
yeah. So that's kind of what happens. So like the early match starts off with a little bit of pivoting, and then eventually I get my Rotom subbed up in front of the Bronzong, and it's a roll. But as I go for the Nasty Plot, he does break it, and it's a heat-proof Bronzong, so like +2 overheat, did 50%, and then I missed the next one and died. And well, after that point, Huiku just won like 4 50-50s in a row of like,
Yeah, that's right.
does he switch into the Talonflame or does he let Bronzong take a close combat? And he guessed right like 4 times in a row, and he just completely outplayed me with a substitute Nidoking as well. So like, well done to Huiku. I
Yeah,
should
good
also
win.
reveal the stats here. Yeah. I don't remember Gyaptos going down, but I guess it did.
I think it died to its own Brave Birds in
It
the end.
must have. It must have. Something like that. Um, I don't remember how it went down. But yeah, when Gliscor got a little too low and it got into Dazzling Gleam range, so because it still does like 35%.
Yep.
But yeah, the other thing too for Gliscor was the U-turn into Rotom Wash was really tough for my team to deal with.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I mean, the
it's
Rotom
just a
tough
great
matchup.
combo. Yeah, so really well played. We are going to move into our featured match. Oh, here we go. This is up again for Cloud9 up against K King. You want to introduce Cloud's team? Cause he's bro.
Sure. Yeah. Claude has brought the. Is that Mega Scizor? I can't even remember.
Yeah,
It's a Scizor.
Mega Scizor.
It's a Mega Scizor, a regular Garchomp, a Tapu Fini, a Spectrier, a Rotom Fan, and then good old Weezing.
And then K King, he has brought the Zeraora, the Gladios, Urshifu Single Strike, Odom, Incineroar, and Togekiss. So let's
Yeah.
see how this goes. Alright, so very good lead for Claude. Just kind of puts him.
Yeah, there's not much in Urshifu to do 1v1 against a hit run every time.
Right, so. The Rotom Pain Split, very cool.
Pain Split the other Rotom. Quality. Rotom Fan's an interesting bring here just because it doesn't do a lot to Zeraora,
I want to see a
especially when you can.
knockoff. Oh, dang. I was hoping for a knockoff there, but the player off's like very much. I expect Chomp to come in, but I think the knockoff's still pretty worthwhile. Get rid of its energy. Then there the corrosive gas spam. Oof.
You like to see that. It's a good item to have, or a good move to have. I know Sparky really brought corrosive gas to light as a really good move in a previous league.
So without the specs,
I've been seeing it more and more.
Like you saw what happened. The Gladios did 46%. So now,
yep.
Like, bad move.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this Draco miss on a Gladios missing. I had to experience that a couple times today.
There you go. Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta get out. You gotta get out.
Incineroar is just such a good answer to Spectrier. There's just nothing Spectrier really has for it. Tough matchup. Good knockoff here to keep the Fini in check. You know, Claude doesn't have any Cleric or Wish support, so that Fini is going down slowly but surely.
Yeah. Chance to U-turn or Volt Switch. Pain Split's good. I like that.
Yeah. Pretty good Pain Split opportunity.
If you had Willow, probably worthwhile to try it there. So I don't think he's got Willow on the modem.
No. Gets Gladios back in for free without any answers to Psychic spam. Although he goes for the Draco.
He has the Scizor. So
I mean, to an extent, but there's always
got Mystical
now
Fire.
Yeah, now that you've been now that your specs have been bopped off, like Scizor can't come in anymore on psychic attacks because it just gets caught by mystical fire right
Ooh,
afterwards.
the Sand Tomb. That's cute.
Sand Tomb's good, interesting tech. I think actually it's trying to catch the Incineroar, so Sand Tomb is actually really good tech to catch the Incineroar. I was thinking it was for Zeraora, but it's really definitely more so for the Incineroar.
Yeah.
Spectrier comes in. I believe it's a Mud Shot Spectrier too. No, just Shadow Ball again.
I mean, that's
Doesn't get the spin
okay.
off drop. Oh no,
There
it
it
does
is.
have Mud Shot. Doesn't get the roll it needs though.
But he didn't go for it.
But
If you went for the knockoff there, that's GG.
yeah,
Oh, it is Rapid
Scissor's
Strike.
found
I
out.
said Single Strike, but it is Rapid Strike.
Yeah,
And Scizor doesn't care.
not in the slightest. I'm actually surprised he doesn't go for the Roost there.
I think I would have
a
gone for the Roost.
because you wall out the Urshifu indefinitely with yourself fully roosted. Otherwise, you have to sack something to get Scizor back on the field safely to roost. So that's just an unfortunate loss, bit of healing. And then there's just not
The
a
pain
lot
split to
of
lose HP.
yeah. I think he should have gone for the Leaf Storm there and just started trying to do trade-off battles
Yeah.
with Claude. He's got the numbers advantage. I think Claude's trying to stack the Feeny at this point.
Yeah, that's scary because it's not Scarf. But this is a 2-hit KO.
Yeah. He needed that second bulk up. Obviously, a really critical speed boost for the Garchomp.
And Garchomp should just be able to take it from here.
Should, but I think.
Oh wait, no, Togekiss. It's not boosted.
Yeah, never mind.
But,
I forgot it wasn't Swords Dance.
But you bring in the Mega Scizor here or Spec. Yeah, you're
Spec
totally
is a very
fine.
good one. But I think Urshifu's Scarf, based off the damage output, and this kind of gets back to the not roosting earlier, is if he had roosted earlier, he doesn't have to sack the Spectrier here. He just goes in with Scizor and roosts. And then he's got the advantage because he can do a Wing Beat or whatever.
But if he gets up to, but he just needs to like wait out the Surging Strike PP.
I think so. Oh yeah, he didn't. I forgot he didn't do that.
Oh.
I think he was really afraid of the Gladios switch in, and I don't think he had the calc damage to KO the Gladios, so he needed to not.
Yeah, so kicking.
I think he was playing different. Yeah, he's playing for differential. I think Claude was. I think Claude always lost to Gladios in the end because he didn't do enough damage.
I'm actually curious. I was gonna check it
because it looks like a defensive Scizor. Bullet Punch maxes out at 43%.
Okay, so yeah, never mind. It was always K-Kings to win.
Yeah, he was always just playing for diff, and didn't get it.
Alright, I thought he was in a better position than he was, so never mind. Everything I just said the last couple minutes doesn't make any sense.
No, I mean, it mattered that he didn't roost with the Scizor because then he doesn't have to sack Spectrier, and then Spectrier just spams Shadow Ball for KOs.
Yeah, at that point. But
that was the unfortunate turn. But at that end stage, K-King had always won. It was just a matter of differential, whether it was a 1-0 or a 2-0.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at our standings here. We still have 2 undefeated teams. We have the Thunderers from down under us and the Alberta Surge. We also have the Miami Delphox and a couple of other 2-1 teams. My favorite is probably Wombat. Look at that, 2-1 at -2 differential. You'll love to see it.
My favorite.
Good commissioners down at the bottom.
We love it down there. My differential's actually not even that bad considering I'm 0-3. Only losing like 2-0.
Yeah, mine's pretty. Still not last place. Sorry, Frost Eye. One of us gets to be last place because we play each other this week.
Ooh, there you go. Someone gets out of the hole, and I probably fall farther down into it. But we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's take a look at the KO leaders. Look at this Garchomp, man, at 10 KOs. Leading
Garchomp does that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it before in like leagues like XPDLA where like Garchomp just sweeps. It's a Swords Dance or a Scale Shot away from just running away with a match. And Claude wasn't able to do it as much in this matchup. I think he only got 2 KOs with it, but that means he was averaging 4 KOs a match in his other 2 games. So
yeah,
really, really effective Mon that he's playing very well with at the moment.
But we see, Dracovish chilling up there.
Mega Mawile,
King,
but that's all from last match.
Yeah, Glow King being up there is a little weird, but
They can do things.
Yeah, I guess it is after 3 matches. It's just picking up 1 or 2 a match, and it kind of, yeah, that seems fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I dig this, so.
All Dino's outside of it finally, thank God. It didn't pick up any KOs outside of week 1, as it should not have any KOs at all. So glad to see it falling down the leaderboard.
I mean, I have Mega Audino in a league, and it has more KOs than my Dragapult. Much to my shame, but I can't.
It's okay. Join the club of the club of poor Dragapult.
I can't help it. I have a Rillaboom in that league that wins the game, so Dragapult just sits in the back and is like, I could end it with Shadow Ball spam, but you go ahead and just glide your grasses, okay? But all right, so go back to the screen here and say that's all that we have for week 3 recaps. We for all of you that stuck around this long, really appreciate you. We're gonna probably keep, I don't want to say the word expanding because it sounds like it's gonna be more, but I'm gonna keep working with what's on the screen to make it a little better. But yeah, so week 3's in the books. Week 4 is well underway. We're gonna get Pick'em stuff to you tomorrow.
Yep.
And thanks again for watching. I'm Finn. Dr. Geo with me is
P McGee.
We'll catch you guys later. Peace.